looks much more promising. In theory, that's us live, and people can see my ear. Hello, can anyone who is in the thing see and/or hear me? Can you see the ear?
Can you see the jester?
Welcome to the madhouse.
Can't see my arm.
No. So.
Oh, there you are.
There I am. Well, I've leant back over, but I don't know. Oh. We're having some technical difficulties. It's
very big.
And I'm trying to do the Zoom thing properly, but it's.
Woo!
Uh-oh.
Stay there, everyone.
Okay, right. Is that okay?
Yes.
Right. Can if anyone can see and/or hear me, please write it in the comments, because we've no way of knowing if this is working, because we're in a technically different place.
I can see you. Oh, there we go.
Okay,
hello.
I know you can see me. You're in the same room as me.
I can see twice.
Yeah, I know.
On there and on there.
Yes,
and
yes.
Your face.
But no one has said they can see and hear.
I can see and hear you fine.
Okay, okay. Whoop, whoop. Excellent. And we've already had a member shout out. Bojack, member for 32 months. Hi, Paul. Hi, Crimson. It has been a while, Smiley. It has been a while. Yes. So, yeah, that been a while thing. We're in a different part of the nerve center. We are in the kitchen, which is where the Joker lives. Joker lives in the kitchen. Why isn't that what? There we go. Joker lives in the kitchen.
Get off. Okay. Get off. No.
We've got a different technical setup today. So Crimson is obviously in the control chair, as one might expect. But she's tapping on the main thingy, which means that if you see a message today that comes up and says, you won't see any that say from Crimson in the chat. You'll see ones that say from, say hi, Paul, and that will be Crimson. So it says now, say hi, Paul said, hopefully not. It's a lie. Crimson said it.
I said it.
Yeah. But the answer to the question, Harley Quinn is actually in the room I painted. Yes. I've got a 2-frame thing. It was from years ago. It was about the time of what was the film called where it was the anti-heroes film, Suicide Squad. And I got a couple of canvases, one of the Joker and one of Harley Quinn, and they look really well on the wall up there. So that's that's a thing.
There is a naked woman in the bedroom, in the kitchen. There's a naked lady in the kitchen, but you can't see her. And she's from Ghost in the Shell, isn't she?
Well, she's not. Technically, she's not a woman. It's a cyborg. It's all mechanical. It's from the original Ghost in the Shell cartoon, rather than the motion picture.
She's got boobies.
She's also
got covered up.
She's also got loads of wires and stuff.
She's wired.
She's wired. She's wired up. It's a robot. It is a robot thing. It is a robot thing. Are you having difficulty?
I can't get rid of these, look.
Right. Technicals. Try the blue arrow. No. Oh, something said hide emotes a second ago. One moment, folks. Up here, maybe? Was it sort of there? I'm sure something said hide emotes. Is it that? Hide emotes. There you go.
Thank you. Ghost in the Shell's really good.
Yeah. So there's a Ghost in the Shell one there. It had a twin that was an Akira poster, but that's now in a different room. It's in a clip frame. I'm no longer a child.
Sorry.
Yeah, or something like that. Sorry, but thirsty. Still no sponsorship. Although, to be fair, this could be any brown liquid at this point.
Hi, Joe.
Not so long ago, I became aware of the startling difference in price between bottles and cans of my favorite sparkling beverage. Back in the day, the price wasn't that different. Clearly, they've grown apart, and I can drink 4 times as much of it now for the same price.
Machine.
You bought me a nice machine. That was a very generous present. Yes.
It's good to be back. Big bad
Peter Gaming for his 32-month membership. Good to see and hear you both again. It is good to be back. It's been a bit of a roller coaster the last 6 months, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've had all sorts going on. The current main goings on for me is I am what's the word? Absolutely, the word isn't unemployed.
In between contracts.
I'm in between contracts. So I'm job hunting at the moment. I'm job hunting at the moment, and that is occupying a serious part of my brain, such as it is. And you've been working like crazy on your business, haven't you, over the summer? Being basically, would you describe yourself as a children's entertainer?
That's what it says on my insurance.
Okay. You paint faces and braid hair and do nails and stuff, don't you?
I do.
Check out
tattoos.
Check out Sarah Sparkles on Facebook.
You'll recognize the logo.
Yeah, the logo is Crimson's logo, but it's pink instead of red.
We've already got a question. Thank you, Scott. Scott set us off there. Hi, Paul. Do you think it would be law appropriate to run Doc
Mechanicum?
Yeah. From Mars in Red.
It does seem like GW are going down the route of saying that loyalists to red and traitors are gold and brass. But I've painted, or I'm in the process of painting, a Mechanicum force. I've painted them bright, shiny Mars red, and I will be using them as traitors at certain points, because I don't necessarily see any reason why. So if you take, for instance, the Astartes, colours and identity mean a lot to them. The Lunar Wolves became the Sons of Horus, and then when the Sons of Horus betrayed, the loyalist members of the Legion reverted back to referring to themselves as Lunar Wolves, and I think some of them even managed to repaint their armor, although not a lot of them did. Paint was scarce on Isstvan 3. I think identity like that means much more to the likes of the Astartes. The Mechanicum, I don't see why they would really give a hoot, to be quite honest. I mean, red is their traditional color because of Mars. A color's a color. It's I think Mechanicum can be basically any color pattern and be traitor or loyalist. That's probably not technically true, but it's true enough. Gone are the days of my building a 3,000 point army of Eldari and then going, no, I can't possibly use these Drakari as Ynnari because the shade of their hair is a slightly whitish blue as opposed to their hair being actually white. Every other detail, identical. So I'm not going down that insane road again. The tone of their hair isn't quite right. No, I must build and paint another 3,000 points and use them totally separately. No, Paul, no.
That's interesting. Aaron says he painted the old Forge World. I can't say that word. Mechanicum to match his traitor Iron Warriors.
Yeah, and I think that's entirely legitimate. They do tend to repaint a lot when it comes to various changes in loyalty. So that sometimes, I guess there's a few different threads to that part of it. Sometimes automata, when they are taken into a legion, they gain the legion trait. They become part of the legion. They take on the identity of the legion. Entirely reasonable and expected that they would have legion colors. But also, there is definitely precedent in the Mechanicum overall for them adopting the colors of the people they are, say, a little bit more subservient to. So, for instance, one of the quandaries I have had with my Mechanicum force that I've been building is that part of me. So I've got some knights, and I've got some not knights. This sort of we're going. Oh, right. So there was a bit I was going to say that kind of comes before this bit that I was going to say, but I'll say this bit, then I'll go back to this bit, and it won't be in any way confusing. So when looking at my Mechanicum Knights, I was thinking, right, well, what I should maybe do is I wanted to do the Knights as House Tyrannus because they fought in the war on Mars. There's also even precedent saying, okay, it was only the ones on Mars that got wiped out. There were lances of House Tyrannus elsewhere in the galaxy. Great. Then I discovered that far from it being easy, because I already had some House Tyrannus Knights, you see, in 40k colors, and I thought, could this be a simple case of rebasing? No, because Tyrannus red, white, black in 40k, in Heresy, blue, white, and black. And so I sort of agonized for quite a while about whether or not to paint them as House Tyrannus and be more restricted in what I do. But there's the other side of the coin, which is the roundabout. Come on, brain, do the thing. I'm going to circle back. I'm going to go on a little bit of a wander. You'll see why in a minute.
Do you want to just do that shout out while you're wandering? Just a free gift.
Oh, Big Bad Peter Gaming has gifted a So High Apple membership. Thank you very much, Mr. Big Bad Peter. It is much appreciated, sir. Thank you muchly.
Who's going to take it up?
Come on, someone, nab it.
Nab it quick.
Nab it. So the Mechanicum, actually, I'm going to go right back.
Hold on to your seats.
But I need a sip first.
Hold on to your seats. Strap yourself in. We're going back.
Ice cubes.
How far back are we going?
Primordial soup.
No, I had quiche.
Okay, so Mechanicum, from my observations, obviously there are. If you look in the Mechanicum book, there are 3 different types of force that you can that compose the Mechanicum. Essentially, you've got Titan legions and their ground forces as well as their Titans. Knight Questoris, so knight households and their armigers, and the Tagmata, which is I'm not going to get the quote exactly right, but it translates as that which was ordained for war or similar, divinely ordained for war, something like that. Basically, what the Omnissiah said, these things will be for war, therefore they are for war, hurrah! Which is a Forge World getting their high-ranking Magoses together, deciding who's going to build up an army, then pulling all sorts of bits from the Forge World together, turning it into an army, putting an Archmagos at the head of it, and going and doing the war thing. Now, within the Tagmata, from what I can see, the unit choices all seem kind of disparate, and there's no sort of obvious cohesion. If you look at like Tracer Marines, if you look at Astartes and similar, you've got companies, you've got like tank commanders, you've got recon companies, breacher companies, tactical companies. And it's like, yeah, okay, there's a dude with a command squad and a bunch of troops in a similar right. And you can sort of do, right, I'm going to do my army, and I'm going to have a bit from the tactical, and I'm going to have some breacher and some of this and some of that, and we'll have some of the armored column with us. And yeah, okay, boom. It kind of makes sense. Even if you're not doing it from particularly a narrative perspective, it kind of makes sense. But all the stuff in the Mechanicum look really kind of disparate and weird. You've got in there, you've got priests, you've got some things that are cyborgs, and I guess this is really where I managed to distill it down to. I think of all the units that look completely and totally different, and okay, so how are these connected to those? I think it comes down to 4 main types of unit in the Tagmata. You've got things that are priests, things that are cyborgs. Crimson's throwing lobsters at me. She just been upstairs and caught the lobsters. And the Nurgling. Oh, we don't normally see the Nurgling on the channel. This is normally the thing that perches on my work monitor, and then I wave at the camera when people goes, "What have you got near you?" And I've got a Demon of the Plague God.
Oh gosh, I fetched the wrong thing.
But at this point, I can see that Bojack has done a super chat donation. Thank you very much, Mr. Bojack. Much appreciated, sir. Your Tracer Marines. Okay. Adeptus Crustaceus. Nice. So I'm going to be slightly traditional, and rather than putting them on my head, I'm going to put them on my shoulders. I'm going to like have lobster epaulets. Yes.
Welcome, Bungle. Bungle took it up.
Welcome, Bungle. So I, broadly speaking, I think they fall into 4 categories. There's priests, cyborgs, automata, and knights. Pretty much everything in that list, I think, falls into one of those categories. The priests, they often have their own toys. Like the Magoses can have all sorts of like radiation reactors, or they could carry dozens of weapons, or they could be part of the Myrmidon cult, or they could have like their pet tank. I think the tanks are also kind of the priesty ones, because looking at some of them, you can see There's a priest driving them. I think it's not the Kratos, the sort of open topsy type ones. The name I can't remember of. Then you've got the cyborgs, and that's where you have got at least a partial living human being in control of the thing. So the Phalanx, for example, are cyborgs. There's a human nervous system in there. It's got a brain and a spine, and it controls the robot body. And those ones tend to have a feel no pain because they are so used to being in agony, because the process of making them is really harsh, that they are quite resistant to damage. They will carry on when other sentient nervous systems might not. Then you've got the automata. Now, from everything I have read, the automata have no human components. They are entirely programmed robots. And whilst robots are illegal after the dark age of technology, I think there's sort of different layers. Like the Iron Men from Dark Age of Technology, they were effectively AIs. They were independently thinking. They could make their own decisions. They could they decided that they were more important than the humans, and their creators could go and do one. Then around about the time of the Heresy, the things they were churning out, the likes of the Castellax, it's an automata. It's programmed. It can only do certain things in certain circumstances. It doesn't have any innate intelligence. It's a response to stimuli. And that's why they tend to get constrained with rules: must shoot at the nearest target, must charge the nearest target, unless there's a priest nearby who can override their controls, who can direct them, who can do other things with their systems. Basically, temporarily put more sophisticated software in there. Should I? Okay.
They're for special occasions.
Okay. Maybe I could sit and stroke one like a Bond villain.
No, you look silly. Couple of questions.
If you go to, hang on, I haven't quite finished this point,
okay,
and I'll get lost. Then you get down to the 40th, you get down to the 40k era, and they don't have Castellax anymore. They have Castellan. Now those don't even have programming for multiple circumstances that they can employ. They have to have the correct circumstantial program injected into them. They have the right, we're shooting now. Okay, we need the shooting program. If we don't have the shooting program, we're not doing the shooting, etc. So it's sort of layers of removal from AI. And in Heresy era, the Mechanicum are building automata that can react but are not independently intelligent. Then the other thing, the sort of fourth category are the knights. So many of the knight households have, for want of a better word, like Mechanicum sponsors. So they have to have tech priests and their ilk to build and maintain their knights, and to provide power to the housing, stables for the horses, stables for the night horses, and power to charge them, ammunition to feed them, etc., etc., etc. Now, from what I've read, it's not very. The Mechanicum aren't always massive on letting those guys go and do their own thing. They're like, yeah, we designed you, we built you. You are basically just the guy riding our death robots. So get back in your box and do what we say. But sometimes they grant sort of independent licenses to, again, for want of a better word, to knightly households, and they become much more independent. House Tyrannus being an example. They have their own personnel. They have their own tech priests that are sort of become theirs rather than sort of staying in the staying under the thumb of the Mechanicum. And the
Hi Kev, by the way. Kev's just in the room. Sorry, I had to shout that out then because I got really excited. So like,
hi Kev.
Hi Kev.
Hi Kev. For anyone who's just joined us, we're operating on one computer tonight. So the person typing is Crimson, the person talking is me, and also sometimes Crimson.
I'm glad you've clarified it's you speaking.
Yes,
that's really good.
Not a ventriloquist. Yeah, I wondered. I will do
that's
that.
Right,
I've got to
just reminding myself.
Yeah, no, that's cool, and much appreciado. But there are a number of knight chassis that the Mechanicum tend to prefer or like using that the Questoras just don't. They've got this sort of developed sense of honor. So your independent knight households are much more likely to use the Lancers and the Castigators and so on. Whereas the Mechanicum turn around and say, yeah, we need you to pilot these knights that we've got. And like the Knight Moraxes, they've got such bad nuclear reactors that power them. They corrupt the planet everywhere they go. And the knight households consider them unseemly and they won't deploy them. But the ones that are under the direct control of the Mechanicum are like, yeah, you will, though, won't you? And those guys, it's a nice thing about saying, yeah, the favorite sons never get given the Moiraxes to ride. It's normally the sort of 18th son who's just disgraced the family or whatever. They get given a Moirax. And they get all the privileges, but they're not allowed to reproduce because radiation and gametes, bad. And they're not allowed to go to dinner. Everything else they can do, but they're not allowed to go to dinner. Not allowed to socialize with people for fear of irradiating them as well. Well, not irradiating them, radiationing them. And the night. So there are knights that are essentially that are part of the Tagmata, that are under the direct control of the Mechanicum, and then there are knights that there are independent households. And one of the things that happened during the Heresy is some of the independent households became more and more dependent on the Mechanicum as their infrastructure got dismantled and taken apart, and problems with it. They became more dependent on the Mechanicum, and many of them started painting their knights in Mechanicum colours to show their allegiance to the Mechanicum. This is a really roundabout way of illustrating the point that the Mechanicum tend to brand themselves with the people they're running with. This knight household is getting more and more reliant on the Mechanicum, paint themselves in Mechanicum colours rather than their sort of yellow and blue or whatever it might have been. Similarly, Mechanicum really closely associated with a Legion. I see them. No reason why they wouldn't be in Legion colours, because they're effectively at this point they've only got a dotted line back to the Mechanicum, and they are with the Legion. Yes, the religious Omnissiah Emperor divide is always going to be a thing, but it's never going to be that clear cut. Which is why I had the dilemma with my knights, because I've got a couple of knights that can only be taken as part of the Tagmata, because like the Moiraxes, so obviously they're going to be painted in the same color as the rest of my Mechanicum. But then what do I do with the other knights that I've got? Do I do those as part of the Questoris household? But then will it be odd if I'm mixing them up together? Because some of the knights that are Mechanicum can be Questoris-y. And if I've done some blue and some red, and together they're all one army, well, why are they not either all blue or all red? So that's messed with my noggin. So I think the most straightforward assumption, the most straightforward solution is to paint them all red. So they're not going to be red. Hello. That was I think I've rambled from hello to there.
Yeah, maybe.
Have we missed any crucial part of the intro or what we've been doing?
No, I don't think so. I've asked what everybody else has been doing, so it's not just all about us.
Okie dokie. Us, we're a team.
We've got a couple of questions.
We're a team. Okay, I have them written down on a piece of paper, which is marveloso. Okay, Bojack asked, do the Mechanicum have Skitarii, or is that a 40k thing? Yes and no. So if you read the book Mechanicum, Skitarii get mentioned a lot. If you read some of the other early earlier Heresy books, so for example, my favorite, No Fear, they talk about Skitarii in that a lot. Now, Skitarii are supposedly, they are the army defense of Mars, which is why they, in the 30k era, they in theory didn't get around very much because they were all on Mars. But I'm not so sure if that's something that's going to be retconned or could be retconned, or I've not got quite right in the first place, because another interpretation of that is they are the army of the Martian Forge world. So wherever the troops of Mars go, Skitarii could follow, which would fit with them being on Calth in No Fear and in the various other places that they appear throughout the course of the Heresy books. So I think Skitarii do exist. I don't think they are reflected in the army set or the miniature set at the moment. Other than some of the Titan legions, I think are Skitarii, the foot troops of the Titan legions. I want to say Pelitasts and Hopalars. Hopalars. I'm sure.
Like a little bay.
I'm sure my pronunciation is perfect.
Always.
They're the ones that defend the feet of the Titans from lunatics and melter bombs just running up and blowing the toes off. Now we're going to blow his toes off. There go his toes. Same that film. When I do that stuff, when I'm filming a battle report and I randomly make references to things, I forget about it quite quickly. And then when the video goes live weeks later, someone puts a comment and I go, "Oh, the film was such and such," or "I saw the thing you said," and I'm like, "What did I say?" Oh, yeah. So I do wonder if I wonder about the scope for future stuff for Horus Heresy, because Horus Heresy is clearly a very popular system, and they are clearly going to want to do more things with it. And they've kind of, other than releasing new units or new kits for existing units for the Astartes, most of the Astartes are already there and in place. So what other factions could they introduce? Maybe Skitarii, maybe Dark Mechanicum as a faction in its own right, rather than just some different, I want to say cybertheurgy. rather than different cyberthurgies. So maybe that's a way to go. They could in theory do something more with the planetary militias that they've got in PDF. They could in theory do something more with demons that they've also got in PDF. So maybe they will be a thing. They're definitely a thing in the lore. To what extent that gets expanded on / retconned out is another matter. Sleepy Sack asked, have I been playing? I am reading that as written.
Yeah,
you
are.
Yeah.
Yes, great name.
Oh, yes. Have I been playing Space Marine 2? I have played it. I haven't finished it. I haven't finished the campaign. Like, I haven't been playing it multiplayer. It's a bit of a complex one, this one, because for a few different reasons, I haven't played this a lot. The hype around it was so intense. I was so massively hyped for it. There's probably nothing wrong with it at all, but I was a little bit disappointed. I find the gameplay a little bit chaotic. I can't really see what's going on, and I basically just find myself hammering one of the shoulder buttons until everything's dead or I am. Doesn't feel like it plays how I remember the original Space Marine playing. So from that point of view, I was disappointed. That said, it is good. It is good, and I have been enjoying the story mode. Not very likely to play the campaign mode. Sorry, the random v random mode. I've found it quite frustrating that most of what that it's just button hammer for me, which means that when I keep dying, I feel like I haven't been able to particularly influence that, which I found quite frustrating, and I'm not very good at it, which is also a factor. But I am enjoying it, just not quite so much as I had expected to. The other thing is I'm as I have discussed a number of times on the channel, I have a few mental health whatsits, and the concentration of playing a game like that is a drain on my mental reserves rather than a buff to them. It's very enjoyable, but I feel exhausted when I've done it and mentally drained. So I've not been doing it so much, which is a shame. But yeah, it takes it out the tank rather than putting it in. And as I'm job hunting at the moment, I'm trying to keep the tank as full as possible. So yes, I've been playing it. Some bits I really like, some bits not so much. Very, very pretty. It's very pretty. Some lovely effects, some great voice acting, and the intro scene definitely made me want to do Angels of Redemption. I think is what the chapter was called, straight away, even though I'm not playing that much 40k at the moment. So, you know. Kevin Cadfile, member for 47 months, says, good to see and hear you are both well. Thanks, Kev. 47 months. Have we been doing this for 4 years now? 4 years. Where has that gone?
Loyalty for you.
Where has that time gone?
Yeah, where has it gone?
I might do that one.
Yeah.
I might do this one. Right. And this one says, this is from Bojack. How likely is it that the entire Imperial Palace is a planet-sized Titan? And how did no one make art of that yet? Planet-sized Titan. Well, if it were to be the entire Imperial Palace is technically all of Terra, the Imperial Palace. And so we're basically just in a Galvatron situation where it's a planet, and then the Emperor's arms pop out, and then he goes, oh, stomp, stomp, and realizes he's got nothing to stand on, and it's just flailing in the wind. So for that reason, I don't think that's particularly likely. More questions. Weasel. Will you ever add a Titan in your Mechanicum? Well, it's not looking very likely because the Titans are much more expensive than they used to be. I don't get to use them very often. I do already have a Warhound Titan. You see, what I might do is I might use the Warhound Titan with the Mechanicum as Dark Mechanicum at some point. And so that may happen. I'd have to be a long way down my projects before I thought of a Titan, I think. Big Bad Peter Gaming says, would you ever play Legions Imperialis? Never say never. But at the moment, and this leads me into a nice segue on my current hobby projects. At the moment, I've got a number of projects on the go. Even outside of things that I'm doing for YouTube, we've been playing Soulbound, haven't we? That's the AOS tabletop roleplay game. We've just recently started playing Blackstone Fortress again, and that's been very, very enjoyable. I'm trying to do things that aren't just for the sake of doing them for the channel, doing things I want to do and enjoy as well. But so they're just the things that are not channelable. For stuff for the channel, I have a lot of projects on the go. Even with my as yet successful 2004 resolution of keeping it down to, broadly speaking, one faction per game, still an awful lot going on. I've recently been so to tell you about where I'm at, and the answer to the question is there's so much going on with all those others. It's a not at the moment thing. I wouldn't say never because it does look kind of funky, and I thought my brain's just crashed. Quick, Sarah, reboot me.
Reboot you. I just wanted to confirm to Andy, because I don't know whether you've only just joined us, but welcome anyway. But I've just sent you a message and put hearts going up the screen just to confirm. Say hi, Paul, tonight. So it's not say hi, Paul, that's just sent you loads and loads of love hearts. Not that he wouldn't.
The person typing tonight is Crimson. We're on one computer tonight.
I just didn't know whether everybody who's just joined us knew that, because that will look a little bit weird. And also, you're not typing, so that would have looked weird. I just wanted to confirm that. Nice picture, by the way. I'm liking the picture, Andy.
Yes, so that's the answer to the question. The expanding on the more general hobby things, from a Heresy point of view, I'm building up the Mechanicum, which as it stands are still part of my Ultramarines, because everything I have currently painted fits within an allied detachment, so I have not broken that resolution yet. But I am going to, because my current full speed ahead project is to get that up to a 3K independent Mechanicum list before the end of the year, because I have a game planned with Mr. Winters, and I want to take my Mechanicum because that would be awesome. It then also means that whoever I am playing, I have the option of playing some a traitor army, and I don't necessarily have. We don't necessarily have to come up with a weird, spurious "why are the Ultramarines fighting the Space Wolves" kind of conversation. So, yeah, I'm trying to get the Mechanicum up to 3K with a mix of priests, knights, automata, and cyborgs. So yeah, doing that. Other hobby projects, I've been going hell for leather. I've got my Bretonnians now up to 1,500 points. The first battle report with those should be out before the end of the year, because myself and a bunch of others have been getting together to learn the rules for Fantasy Battle, because it's not like the 40k and AOS where you can bluster through it, get a few things wrong. Fundamentally, the game doesn't work if you don't know how to play it. So we've been learning / relearning in some cases how to play, and we've been using, there's a group of us, whilst we're all getting our armies painted, we've been using the PDFs and my old Vampire Counts army and Dark Elf army to learn the rules. So we're getting reasonably well on with that. Although it has made me want to paint more Dark Elves, of which I had so many. Okay. I will in just a second.
Okay.
And so I've got my Bretonnians up to 1,500 points. Probably do a separate ramble about the fantasy and the Bretonnian stuff. But got them up to 1,500 points, and then before the end of the year, I have a game planned for 2K, so I've got to get them up to another 500 points into them as well to get that to a balanced 2K list, because there aren't enough peasants in it at the moment. I'm talking no more about that one. Also, I've got the AOS 4 is getting higher and higher on my list. There's one game. I'm still going to finish the Siege of Excelsis. Obviously, there's 6 episodes left to film. One of them I can do without having to paint any more models. I do have to, for the other 5 games, I do have to paint 4 armies. So rather than doing them all in a big block, I'm going to phase them. I'm going to do an army, play the game, do an army, play the game. Hoping to do one of those this year. Hoping to do some demons for one of those games. So there's a lot I'm trying to do from a hobby perspective. I've got a member chat from Andy Zeltwanger. Apologies for the almost certain mispronunciation of your name. I now realize reading it that I think I've mispronounced it on every previous occasion. I'm like, oh, there are letters in there I don't remember. Member for 48 months. Great to see you, Paul. Thank you very much. It's great to be here with everyone. So yeah, from a hobby perspective, there's a lot happening, with the last few weeks being what they've been, with looking for work and also holidays and some other bits and bobs, which I won't bore you all with. But a tiny gap / drought in the battle reports. So I'm sure you can't escape your notice that it's been a few weeks since we had a battle report. That's not a sign of things to come. I've got a bunch of games booked in. In fact, I had 2 games booked in over the course of the last week. Both, for various reasons, ended up getting binned. Boo. Got another one planned for this for the end of this week. So we should have more battle report content on there soon. And It's quite ironic, really, because I've just announced to the level 2 channel members that what I was going to start doing was setting all of my videos to preview for you fabulous folks as a thank you for your support. And then after that, I only produced one video. It's not that I've forgotten to put them on preview, I haven't filmed any. So yeah, the battle reports, I think I've got about 5 or 6 now booked in by the end of the year. So we should have, the stream should start to flow again. Anyway, right. I have questions. A question from Kev. Paul, I found the first ever White Dwarf I ever got the other day. Can you remember your first issue? I can. I think the number was 183 or 182, possibly 181. It had on the front cover the famous picture of the World Eater Terminator with the improbably large double-barreled gun and the corn symbol on his head, the one that was used for the recent model of the Warhammer Plus Mini for the year. And it had a battle report in the back where orcs and I think it was Space Wolves were fighting over an Imperial landing pad. And the big landing pad had been scratch built by the White Dwarf team. There's a hobby article in there about that. Yeah, I do remember. Okay, you got more to hit me with? Okay, Soft Wall. Have you considered putting Blackstone Fortress on more RPG-style games on the channel? Personally, sounds great to me. I have often pondered it, but it's difficult to do because I think it would have to. It'd probably have to be some kind of live stream for an entire session. I'm not quite sure how the camera or mic setup would be for that, or how I managed to get through several hours without swearing my head off because
smacking me in the face.
That happened 5 times. It's never happened.
No, because he's still here. So that's never happened.
Yeah, I'm not 6 foot under the shed covered in lime.
It would be, yes.
I would never do such a thing.
And I wouldn't either.
You see the expression on her face when she said that. So you'd have to stream it because I don't think it would be easy to cut it up into the same kind of chunks we do for battle reports. In battle reports, you go, and now this unit's going to shoot at that unit. You film it, you stop it. Then you work out what you're going to do next. Then you film it, you stop it.
You'd probably be able to stop it in between each roll, wouldn't you? So each turn. So you're probably able to do a turn,
but you get
and then stop it.
With something like Blackstone Fortress, you get many small rolls, as opposed to in 40k, you get this unit of 30 orcs is now going to roll. You get all the dice, you sort out your target numbers, you do your stratagems, you turn the camera on, you roll the dice, you pause it, you re-roll the wound, you pause it, you do the stage, you pause it.
I suppose,
whereas we're talking, roll this, right? This one's attacked you. Has it saved? No, it hasn't. Right, the next one now does this. Can you move the model over here? I don't know quite how that would work. It's something that I have, pondered, but never satisfactorily reached a conclusion. Yes.
It would be fun.
Okay, so next question. It would be fun, but it'd be getting the right group of people as well. And the other thing is with the camera, if there's an accidental F-bomb, you can edit.
Would they'd never be, would they?
You could,
no.
Never. No.
Disgusting.
You can edit that out. I don't do a lot of editing, but I do edit the occasional accidental swear out. When you get an amble tearing the head off your battle robot, the air is chuffing blue. And I don't know that I could control that many instinctive reactions. So, yes. Right. So, Aaron, 582 Railways says, how many points are you up to on Ultramarines, and will you be adding Guilliman soon? I have Guilliman. He is not built or painted. My parents bought me Gilliman for last Christmas. Very kind of them. I do need to paint him. But there's a lot of other Ultramarines I need to paint. I think if you don't count characters, because I've got about 10, you can only have a max of 3, so they don't really count to a viable points total. I've probably got about 4K playable, probably 5K if you added all the characters, which you wouldn't ever do. I got about 4K playable. I probably have about twice that of minis in shrink wrap ready to be playable at some future point in time. Yeah. I've just added some breaches. One of the things I want to do with those is I want to flesh that out into a breacher company, or at least enough of a chunk of a company for it to look right in a game. Maybe 1,500 points or something like that. But I also think they could go quite well with dreadnoughts. So I kind of have this vague list in my mind, which is a bunch of breaches in Land Raiders, some Praetorian breaches in Land Raiders, command squad in Land Raider, a couple of dreadnoughts chunking up the table, a couple of tactical support squads in Rhinos, following them up with melter guns and flamers, clearing stuff out. Probably would never win a thing, but who cares, because it just sounds awesome. But I think I technically have all the minis for that. But I'm not on a big Ultramarine push at the moment. I'm on an odd unit here and there push for the Ultramarines at the moment. My current 2 big pushes are Mechanicum to playable, Bretonnians to playable, then at least one of my 2 AOS armies to get the ball rolling again on Siege of Excelsis. And it's not a lot of models. It's 20 Demonettes, a bunch of Seekers, and a couple of massive demons and a mirror. But it's enough. It's enough. And then my Oryx, I've got like 25 infantry and a massive big furry thing to paint. So it's not a huge amount. But yeah. Big D asks, how modest, asks, hi Paul, how do you like the AOS 4 rules so far? Well, I haven't played it yet. Not for any reason of not playing it, but I've been engrossed in other projects. And the fact that I need to get a couple of these armies painted before I can really do what I want to do is slowing me down somewhat. My impressions of the rules from reading them, there are some things I really quite like. There are some things I am less keen on. It looks like it's broadly the same game. A couple of things I could niggle about here or there. Now, these may come back in the battle terms. I hope they come back in the battle terms. But as it stands at the moment, they've taken out allies. And that was one of the biggest pluses for AOS for me, was that you have an army, you want to collect another army that's in the same Grand Alliance, you just do a couple of units and add them in. And, you can represent some really nice stories by adding a couple of units in, but they've taken that away. Hopefully it comes back. I was mortified about that. The other impression I have, really, it's about the games. They all seem to be very much like 40k. They all seem to be cut from that. Every game is very similar in terms of how you win and how you score points. Doesn't interest me. My recent games of 40k 10th ed just entirely ignored the prescribed games, the prescribed scenarios, and come up with a scenario to play a game. I just want to have a narrative goal of sorts. Doesn't have to be particularly complex, and just play towards that. That's what I want. I don't want to be doing points on this here and points on that there. So I'll be ignoring that with AOS 4. But broadly speaking, Yeah, I have no particular positive or negative feelings towards it.
I have got this. Oh, there we go.
Oh, more. Right. Bojack, why are the Space Marines fighting Space Wolves? That's a simple question. The Imperium finally had enough of the wolves and declared them traitors. Boom. Maths of Sham 2.0. Nah. So the scenario I came up with for Ultramarines fighting Space Wolves, that's harsh. That's harsh. Was in the Scouring, because the Scouring is very much still part of the Horus Heresy, and this game hasn't been filmed yet. It was an option when one of my guests had a few different choices to play, and so I came up with a scenario for each of their choices so they could play any of their armies. This particular scenario was during the Scouring. The Ruin Storm has dissipated, and then one of the worlds in Ultramar was flying the colours of the Horus of Horus, because they'd been duped. They'd sort of been a rotten egg, and they'd gone over to Horus's side, proudly showed their colours, then realised they were stood in an orchard of trees, and they were a lone womble. And about quick, change the flag. But not before it had been noticed, and the Emperor's executioners had been sent to give sanction. So that was that scenario. That's why they were fighting. Or they may well be at some future point, because I'm sure I will play the person who has the Space Wolves again. Certainly. Yes. Coke time. Oh, Bojack has super chatted again. Thank you very much. That's much appreciated. And he says,
click the like button.
Click the like button, peoples, in big capital shouty letters. Click that like button. Oh, right. Okay. So Andy has asked, how many players do you recommend for Blackstone Fortress going to play in 2025?
Don't leave it that long. Play it now. It's loads of fun.
It's loads of fun.
I
would say, and I'm going to sound incredibly facetious here, somewhere between 2 and 5. And my reasons for that are, I think playing it on your own, controlling all 4 characters, a bit. I imagine that would be a bit intense. I personally like the idea of a hostile player. So, for those who don't know, Blackstone Fortress is a dungeon delving type game, with 4 adventurers against the Blackstone Fortress. So there are rules in it for how the players who are playing the characters can control the fortress. There's a game mechanic for that, so no one has to play as the fortress. It just does make life much, much, much simpler. So 2 people, you do 2 characters each. And in that can lead to people sort of, if you're controlling 2 characters, doing things to sort of big up one of their characters and the other one just gets stabbed in the knee and left behind. It can lead to that, which you don't necessarily want. So it has the potential to be a bit gamey depending on who you're playing with. But I would say the best number is either 4 or 5.
Yeah,
4 of you. 4 of you. Having 1 character each is the best way of doing it. And having someone playing the fortress is also good. But 3 is doable. You have 2 characters for 2 people and 1 with the fortress. The way that's meant to work with 3 players is unless you've got a hostile player, is you're meant to have, you pick 1 character each, then you pick a 3rd character, and the control of that character rotates each turn around the 3 players that you've got. Bit cumbersome. But of course, on the flip side of the coin, I've also played it where we've had one character each, and one of the characters has had terrible luck or really bad dice rolls, or just it's not gone their way, and they have been incredibly bored because it's just really not worked for them, and they're going, I'm not taking this elf again. While someone else is running around with a flamethrower having a whale of a time. It can happen.
Did work out like that, didn't it? Really? Yeah.
Yeah. That was pre-COVID. We realised that it was pre-COVID. Right. Okay. This is from the man Moog. And given I can see a winky, tonguey face at the end of it, this is going to be some kind of insult, I'm sure. You seem to be suggesting the Ultramarines are good guys or something. Remember Monarchia? Yes, we remember Monarchia. That was when we tried to beat the worship out of the word bearers because worship is unhealthy, as the Heresy proved, as have the 10,000 years since. When Gilliman woke up in the 41st millennium and realized that everyone prayed to his dad, he was mortified. But I do also stick to, in 40k, no one's the good guys. No one. But some of them are less good than others.
Moog says that Ultramarines are the bright, shiny, cuddly face of genocide.
He is, and he would be correct. Correct.
Okay.
But for a good cause.
We got another one.
Oh, Aaron, 582 Railways, member for 34 months. You could say the Tracers are the Terran-born Marines from the Legion that were deployed with the Lunar Wolves until they reunited with their Primarch. Yes, you could do a sort of Great Crusade era pre-Primarch world. Yeah, that definitely has some legs. I think that whole era, 30k, there's definitely potential for stuff in the Great Crusade. There's potential for stuff in the Scouring, in the Heresy itself. Before I picked up 40k to play my Orcs again, I did have a mind to do, and I still would like to do this at some point, but it's a little ways down the list. I would like to use the 7th edition Orc Codex to do some games on Ullanor against Loyalist legions during the Crusade. I really think that could work. I've had a look through the Codex, and I can't see anything much that would be insurmountable. Just need a little bit of play testing first, and then you go straight to battle report. But there's a lot of variety that can happen. It doesn't all have to be, and today we're on Isfahan, and today we're on Terra. There's loads of stuff we can do with that. Loads. Far more than I ever really thought. Okay. Another question. Bojack. Okay, you got me curious. Can you customize your characters in AOS the same like in the old 40k, or is it only the variable loadouts always? It's only the variable loadouts always. You can give them... I'm trying to remember now what's a false memory and what's not. With the spellcasters, you can give them different laws. I think you can still give them various enhancements to customize them, but it's not like the old 40k where you could give them all sorts of different weapons and armor combos. It's pretty much just the loadout. It's like the enhancements in the current 40k. It's sort of like pick one per army kind of thing, and you can give it to one character. Okay, they're coming thick and fast tonight, aren't they?
That's a good thing.
I know, this is amazeballs. Okay, Big D asks, I shouldn't say amazeballs and then followed by the words Big D. It doesn't work. Anyway, so Big D asks, say hi, Paul. Did you pick up a copy of the EW Boarding Patrol book? It seems to have a ton of diverse missions. What are your thoughts? No, I didn't pick up a copy of that one. At the moment, the really sort of individual and bespoke stuff, a bit much for my brain at the moment. What I really want is something relatively straightforward that I can use as to hang a story off. So no, haven't looked on that at that really, and as a result, my answer to what are your thoughts are I don't really have any.
It's time to ramble.
It's time to ramble. Oh, right. Okay, so where did I get to on the Mechanicum? I said about knights. I said about what I believe are the 4 main Mechanicum categories in the Tagmata. I did for a while spend some time with Google Translate trying to get some quotes in binary that I could read out during games, potentially with Winters. When he says, "Oh, what do you think about that?" and I'd go 1100 11110000 1010 111000, etc. But a really straightforward sentence ended up being like 400 characters long, and even just "die now" was really too much. So I kind of abandoned that as an idea. Then I thought I could put it on a T-shirt. And it reminded me of the time that a friend of mine who spent a year or possibly more in Japan on as a TEFL teacher, teaching English as a foreign language. He used to not complain, but he never really developed his Japanese because people, as soon as they saw he was as soon as I saw he was English, they would speak English to him straight away to try and practice their English. So I had a T-shirt made in the very early days of Google Translate. I had a T-shirt made that said in kanji, "I don't speak English for free." Yeah, don't know why I said that. Anyway, if you're just joining us, it's very rambly tonight. We're all on the same computer, so if you see typing and lots of love hearts, that's Crimson typing next to my name. So don't be fooled. My hands are here. We had another membership chat. Wolf Corgi, member for 38 months. Sorry, missed most of the stream. Just dropped in to say hi. Nice to see you back, Crimson. You too, Paul, I suppose. It's fair. It's fair.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah. Hi.
Very funny.
Yeah. A very sparkly lobster here. It looks like
It
looks like it's a disco ball.
A disco ball lobster.
Disco lobster. Great. Bye-bye. Are there any more questions and stuff?
There aren't.
Starting to run dry.
There aren't any questions as such, no, but I didn't know whether you wanted to talk about that's the Alpha Legion lobster.
No. The Alpha, it's not nearly so this would be an Alpha Legion lobster. Doesn't shine, hides. This one, far too glitzy. It's been more like a more modern day Thousand Suns lobster. Wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about
the events.
No, I don't think so.
Not enough spiky bits. This is true.
I think they're the embryonic stage at the moment.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well,
I only meant that we're thinking about it. I didn't mean that there's anything set in stone.
Okay, we can talk about that. We're thinking of running some. At various points over the last couple of years, we have run some community events, a couple of narrative events, a 40k one and an AOS one. We are toying with the idea of doing something in 2025, possibly around Heresy, but that is pretty much as far as we have got. 'Tis nothing certain. But yeah, we are speculatorizing about it.
Speculatorizing.
Speculatorizing.
Let's talk about your visit to Winters.
The one I've had, or the one that's coming up?
Coming up.
I've said all I'm going to say on that one.
Ooh,
and that's mostly,
space.
That's mostly because that's all I really know. I'm taking 3K in Mechanicum if I can get it all painted. If not, I'll be taking a slightly different 3K list, probably with Ultramarines and Mechanicum. Don't know what we're playing. Don't know what I'm playing against.
All of them.
Well, Big D says, don't be bothered by not having an opinion about boarding actions. You have things enough in GW products. I love your narrative-driven approach. Oh, thanks, man. That's much appreciated.
Next question.
What did you think about the latest? Your heart's covering it up.
Oh, sorry.
The latest Horus Heresy book about the Mars Civil War. Did you pick that up? I did pick that up, and I can't remember much about it. It had a couple of hit characters in there that weren't Mechanicum-y, which was a bit disappointing. There were some nice looking scenarios in there. It looked like there's definitely some scope to fight the Martian Civil War. And I know James March and I are planning on doing some of that, because on Mars in the Civil War are Alpha Legion, and he is working on some Alpha Legion. So we'll definitely be doing some of that Martian Civil War stuff, which is nice. So definitely some nice missions in there. They were the standout for me. There was some stuff in there about Dark Mechanicum, but I believe they were recycled from previous works. There was a slight datasheet change for one of the tanks, rolling 2 profiles into one and adding a third option. One thing I had thought was that it might be a bit of an eye into the future as to what GW were planning on doing model-wise, because pardon me, because of the photographs of miniatures. Now, when I first saw that book, I would have sworn blind that the only thing they were definitely going to keep in resin was the big Stratos drone, because there was a picture of it in the book. A couple of weeks down the line, sold out online, taking it away. I'm like, okay, so that's the only one they're not doing in resin. Maybe they're doing it in plastic. I don't know. Everything I tried to infer from that book didn't particularly come out. It's good to have the missions are the big thing for me. The lore stories, and if one wants to play Dark Mechanicum as opposed to just Traitor Mechanicum, worth looking at, with some rules in there as well for things like Decimator engines, which of course I do have a Decimator engine for my word bearers. It would not take a lot to make that a Dark Mechanicum unit. So yeah, missions are good. What else we got?
We've got one there.
That one.
Yeah, there's that one and that one.
Okay. That brings up the new Dark Mechanicus figures for the Titanicus replacement. Are you interested in Dark Mechanicus army? It's released for 30k or 30k.
That's Big D, yeah. Big D again.
Those Dark Mechanicum units are gorgeous. I am in serious financial peril if they release those for Horus Heresy. That'd be a problem.
You have to sell your body.
Don't want to buy that. Sarsens might take my kidneys. You never know.
There's a quote from Paul.
I'll get to it in just a second. I'm still just finishing that one off. I would probably, for the sake of not having to try and do a different army, I might well paint them red. So it was consistent with the rest of the Mechanicum army. I might not do them in the sort of black and brass that seems to be the Dark Mechanicum colours now. Don't know, but yeah, I would be all over that if they came to 30k. Right, what was the next one? Is it this one?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Okay, Bojack writes, GW legends are quite unpredictable nowadays. One would think that if it's in the new codex, it's safe in this edition, but no. Yeah, I mean, wherever the business decision takes them, even if they've only just released it a couple of weeks before, they have no compunction about binning stuff. It's a side effect of their success and the amount of time they've been around. They have to regenerate the editions to be able to sell more books or sell more models, which means inevitably they have to trim stuff out. That said, I think the way they've taken things to Legends for AOS, at least, and to an extent 40k this time around, I think that's been reasonably well done, because certainly the ones I've used so far have been quite playable, and I know with AOS they've made a commitment to support them all the way through this edition. Who knows? But a number of my AOS armies are in the metaphorical bin as a result of that. It's just something you got to get used to. I think it's a fact, and not a particularly avoidable one. I don't think, because they've got to maintain their business model. They've got to be able to squeeze the money out of us to make profits, to do the being a company thing. And if they don't do that, they don't make the minis, they don't make the games, they become a smaller company, less choice, less minis. So I'm whilst it's frustrating when it hits me, I'm reasonably sanguine about the fact of it. Right, where am I now?
You are here.
Maybe try base 64 or ASCII if they're slightly more compact than binary. Yeah, maybe. I think I gave that up as a bad job.
Okay, I don't think there's any. Oh, there's one. Look, soft wool.
There's a few here actually. Martian Civil War, but with the Imperial Fist, Blood Angels, and Raven Guard. Okay, I will ask that one. Bojack, if you wanted to play Eldar or Dark Eldar in 30k, how would you do it? I would get a copy of the 7th Ed Eldar or Dark Eldar Codex from eBay for about a $5, which is what my Orc Codex cost me. Then I would look at which of the units directly translate into 30k and which ones need a bit of tweaking. So, for example, with the Orcs, the Death Dreads and the Killer Cans in the 7th Ed Orc Codex were vehicles. So I just looked at that, looked at the Marine book and said, right, okay, well, they can have the same toughness, wounds, and save profile. The Death Dread can be the same as a Contemptor Dreadnought, and a Killer Can be the same as a Sentinel. So you just look for the ones that don't quite fit, just look for a rough equivalent, because let's face it, if you're playing Horus Heresy with 7th Ed, Eldar, Dark Eldar, Orc stuff, then your opponent's not going to be, it's unlikely to be the person who wants everything to be point perfect. So just approximate something and have a laugh. That's how I do that. Software Blaster was a major fan codex for Eldar in 30k. I honestly don't know. I wouldn't be at all surprised because the community as a whole has an awful lot of creativity and people like to expand on gaps that have been left. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. I've never seen it. Bojack says, isn't it funny how when GW was a small company, you had much more freedom with your minis? Really makes you think. Yep.
It's about to... Don't do that.
Hello. And on that note, I think we're heading towards a close.
We are. Unless there's any more questions, stick them in the chat if there is.
The first thank you is always to Crimson, who, without whom I wouldn't be doing this, and keeps me fed with questions and stuff and encouragement. And yeah, you're awesome. Big thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Big shout outs to people that have used the membership chat, which nearly came out wrong then. And I always like reading these out because these are amazing. These are amazing amount of months. So Bojack, 32 months, been with the channel. Big Bad Peter Gaming, 32 months. Kev Cadfile, 47 months. I mean, 47 months. Andy Zelwanga, 48 months. Mr. Moog, who's obviously trying to be someone else, but
Big Bad Peter Gaming,
47 months. And Aaron 582, Railways 34 months, and Wolf Corgi 38 months. Thank you so much. That is very loyal. Super chats 2 to Bojack. Bojack, thank you very much, and thanks for keeping the questions coming, which was wonderful. Big Bad Peter Gaming, thanks to you. You gifted a membership, and we want to welcome Bungle. Because that's a fab name, Bungle, isn't it?
Did I say Big Bad Peter Gaming when I meant to say Blue Demon Brushworks?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
My apologies to Big Bad Peter Gaming. And
yeah. Far more than the other way around.
Sorry, brain's not what it once was.
Sorry, we are gonna do a bit more of the live streaming, and we will pop it into the chat.
We will. Not sure when the next one's going to be. Definitely won't be next week. My parents are visiting that week.
Yes.
Definitely won't be them, but I don't know when it will be. It'll be sometime. It will. So that's all the thank yous. I thanked you. Is there anything I've forgotten?
We thank you. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And on that note, thanks to everyone for joining in and joining us today, and we will see you in the next one.
If you want to put any, want to do Discord. If you want to put any questions in there, then please do, and we'll give them a shout out next time.
What she said. Okay, thanks everybody. We will see you next time. Bye for now. Say bye, Crimson.
Bye, Crimson.
Bye.